The translation team has been engaged in translating The High Path Volume 2. We have also begun the early process of translating High Path Volume 1. These powerful writings came to WMEA from a dear friend of the group. Until now, they have not been published in English. At the beginning of The High Path, it says, for a number of objective reasons, Helena Rourke could not include all the materials from her regular conversations with the teacher when composing the published books. As a result, these detailed records were preserved only in handwritten manuscript form. It seems such important work to distribute that which has not yet been made available. The copyright has now been given to WMEA to translate and publish these profound writings into English. This 2-volume book, The High Path, is a detailed collection of instructions and guidance from the teacher to Helena and Nicholas Rourke, the closest disciples who passed the practical experience of Agni Yoga. Astonishing pages about the many years of spiritual deeds of these great people are now available for the reader. In the living dialogues, the most valuable details of the fiery experience of the mother of Agni Yoga is revealed. In many of the entries, we have found such inspiring instructions given directly to Helena Rourke herself. Most entries were set up in a question-answer format, with the master answering the questions of Helena Rourke. One beautiful example was when HR asked the master, how do you explain the unusually bright flash striking my left eye? He answered, it was a connection with spatial fires. At other times within the High Path, the master is sending forth guidance to the Rourkes or other Agni Yoga group members about their individual paths, actions they should take, cosmic and scientific information, and events occurring on the world platform. As aspirants and disciples on the path, we have a great responsibility and opportunity to direct our thoughts and actions toward the higher worlds, and in this way prepare to be the leaders of the future, of the new world, a future that radiates beauty, simplicity, and fearlessness. This call starts as a seed and grows as we focus our thoughts and labor according to the guiding words of MM and the masters. In studying the words given to Helena Rourke in the High Path, the impact of the great experiment that was taking place gives us such beautiful summoning and guidance to those who are ready. In this example, we can read about the practical ways to uplift and transform our beingness and serve on the path. As we are listening and discussing throughout the conference, we can see how important it is to control our thoughts, to let go of negative thinking so as not to pollute the atmosphere or the higher worlds. On October 29, 1931, the master instructs, the atmosphere is heavy. Cooperation is necessary. It is necessary to apply thoughts to the greater plan. I warn you about the tension of the satanic lodges. There will be attacks from all directions. You cannot consider these days as ordinary. Irritation will knock on all doors. But you know how to immediately prevent it. Satanists know that you cannot be pushed toward crime and corruption, but they have one remaining hope, irritation. Otherwise, by what channel can they produce disease, destruction, and slander? But we know that in these next few days, you will stand above the satanic attacks. We need cooperation. Difficult days have come, along with the ability to conquer. Obstacles are constructed often by the people themselves. Geniuses are superhuman and are reliable helpers. Urasvati has correctly begun to smile. Only with a smile does one warrior go into battle. We cannot speak about anything else, only about the danger of the current hour. If we repeat 1,000 times about danger, we will still not express the tension of the moment. It is quite clear that the onslaught of the dark ones will be terrible, but do not allow them to triumph, even for a moment. Do not feel burdened by anything, for this hour is unprecedented. It seems that you understood me, and you know that for 10 years I have not given such instructions. Thus, the time has come of which I have long hinted and tempered you. What a powerful verse. First, it instructs everyone to apply our thoughts to the greater plan. Then, guiding words give us the responsibility to develop the power to control our thinking and thoughts, and in each moment to question where our thought is directed and whether it is aligned to serve in the great plan. It says irritation will knock on all doors and instructs that irritation is the Satanist's one remaining hope, irritation. The dark ones use irritation to create separatism within a group, a nation, and humanity, to sever the ties between servers of good and light. It is such a critical discipline that each one is being asked to understand, to sense the responsibility necessary to control thoughts and emotions and unite with us in thought. Avoid irritation, cooperate as a group, and conquer all obstacles. One most beautiful line is, only with a smile does a warrior go into battle. With a smile, we avoid irritation, critical thinking of our coworkers. With a smile, we become illuminated to walk in joy as a warrior who treads the path, each warrior who treads the path beside us, as we sense the great plan and prepare with a smile to conquer each obstacle that presents itself on the way. Thus, with a sense of responsibility, we must conquer any separative thought that will prevent this progress. Within the high path, there are many reoccurring instructions to focus your thoughts to us, to direct your thoughts toward us, to focus on the name of Rourke, to focus on the Lord. In applying control over our thinking, we link our minds to the higher and avoid sending out negative energy that feeds the dark ones, through an understanding that energy follows thought. So, as we now translate and read the high path, let us consider how to apply this instruction in our lives, to direct our thoughts to the name of Rourke. Hierarchy, the master, Shambhala. In verse April 7th, 1931, the master spoke. It is right to call the wise Furuyama Lord Nicholas, because this is how space is saturated. It is correct to proclaim Dear Svati as the white Tara, because this is how space is saturated. This is how the great law of being is affirmed. Thus, the orbit of the fiery heart saturates space. Thus, victory approaches. Let America strengthen its focus on Rourke. Let all shields be strengthened by the name of Rourke. Let all armor be strengthened with the name of Rourke. Verily, it is possible to achieve victory. Thus, our united manifested shield will saturate space. Truly, a united heart is a shield. The link between Helena and Nicholas Rourke and the master was one. They were messengers of the great ones. Thus, directing our thoughts on the name of Rourke creates the energy of cooperation and harmony with the fiery worlds. gives this great directive on May 25th, 1931. Therefore, it is necessary to direct the consciousness in America to focus on the Tara and the Guru, on the service of the hierarchy. Only this path will provide all the highest manifestations. Truly, the unification of consciousness leads to completion. Thus, we create together, and so we conquer. The high path has so many offerings that guided the Rourkes and the inner circles in their labor on the path. We are given this opportunity to follow their lead and manifest the discipline of thought in our lives. We read in many verses that the need for purification and refinement of thought is so necessary. How the master instructed each member of the inner circle in their striving and service to purify and refine their organism. In this way, through transformation, they were of higher service to the plan of the hierarchy. On September 9, 1932, the master decreed, "Follow my advice. Stay as close to us and each other as possible. The development of the heart also requires the refinement of relationships. I do not mean that they are difficult, but the degree of refinement is infinite. In repeating this, the development of the heart also requires the refinement of relationships." The members of the inner group were doing just this and learning how to work in cooperation with each other through transformation and purification. This met with challenges, but they continued to persevere, strive, and aspire through following the advice of the master, and as it is said, by staying close to us. On September 4th, 1929, there was a conversation between Helena Rourke and the master. He conveyed, "My Urasvati, your great thought will be actualized." To this, HR asked, "I am not familiar with my great thoughts. Maybe the Lord can indicate which ones?" The master replied, "I will gladly tell you all your thoughts about creative beauty and sound and color, all your thoughts about the saturation of the spirit with the aspiration toward beauty, all your ideas about the refinement of forms. You can create the true image of the new world. But in order to have the right to speak about beauty, you yourself must manifest beauty. Show aspiration because you have been given the right to speak." Isn't this such a powerful communication? The master is sharing the responsibility that in order to have the right to speak about beauty, you yourself must manifest beauty. Beauty of thoughts, beauty of action, beauty of words that come through purification and refinement. Helena Rourke is a beautiful example of this pure service.
Continuing with this thread of thought, the master further explains on January 2nd, 1931, "You are correct to write about the necessity of observing the purity of thoughts. Like the ozone, the teaching is not abstract. Let us strive for the destruction of slanderers. I will help with this. Such labor is being called forth to observe the purity of thoughts, understanding that the teaching is given to be applied through practical means. As it says, the teaching is not abstract. In this way, it is possible to defeat the slanderers." The master later gives the message that our enemies will be defeated even under the guidance of Satan himself. Our decree will not be changed if you refrain from the betrayal that knocks on all doors. But there are unexpected combinations. We avoid persecutors. Consider how important it is to send kind thoughts everywhere. They act like gas masks. The appearance of my representative can occur in the most unexpected way, which is why it is so important not to alienate newcomers. But be careful with your health, because you need to be ready for their arrival. Isn't this a memorable image? That kind thoughts act like gas masks? The need to put on the armor of protection by sending forth kind thoughts, and in so doing creates a shield against negative attacks. In order to move forward towards the new world, warnings were given about the need to eliminate the negative insults and remarks that cause dissension, division, and disrespect for each other to wane. How important for us to read these words given in the high path and then apply them in our actions, in our groups, with our co-workers, with our families. It reads, the main difficulty in America is mutual disparagement. This is done in the little things, in the trifles of thoughts, cutting jokes or crooked smiles. I speak and repeat about unity, but my decrees are rarely applied. Does formal unity mean anything? By no means should you allow strangers to lose their respect through hearing unkind insinuations. How many coworkers lose their respect for each other through hearing unkind insinuations? More than once, it has been said, even in jest, you should not belittle or criticize each other. Losing respect is irreparable, and this is usually done by the smallest of circumstances and unfortunate expressions, even in the presence of strangers. It is time to realize the sting that comes from a fly, what it can do. And you must remember that enemies try to enter not through the door, but through the smallest crack. In dangerous attacks, even the slightest hint of condemnation is fatal. Useful people may be sent to you, but you should know how to keep them. Write that great unity is required. If the path is wide, then do not push. They know, they know what I mean. You must remember that even the smallest stone strikes a great blow when falling. The battle against the darkest forces must evoke the noblest thinking. Let us be lighthearted and cautious. As we study the guiding words of the Master within the high path, we understand more fully how refinement and purity of thoughts can lead us towards the manifestation of the new world. MM says, the world is building the new era on the feminine principle. If only the feminine principle realized its cosmic significance. Throughout the high path, we read many of the guiding principles that will open the gates to the future, the new world, the age of the mother of the world. On July 12th, 1934, the Master affirms, I admire your fiery spirit and heart. Thus, I want your name to adorn my achievements so that your name will adorn my armor. Thus, I want the world to know that your spirit has led all my endeavors. Thus, let your wonderful name enter into everyday life as the principle that adorns my shield. Certainly, the heart of Svati correctly senses this, and the fiery sword of the spirit is affirmed. Oyana's heart correctly senses that it is necessary to give the sacred name of the wonderful Svati to sense its graceness. These are my affirmations. It is right to affirm the importance of our nearness. I affirm what Oyana has said to Lagvan. It is necessary, necessary, necessary to give the light of truth. Thus, dear Svati, the fiery rite gives the world an understanding of the power of the feminine principle as the key to the new world. Thus, dear Svati, my heart surrounds you. The predestined proceeds. Therefore, we are one. Thus, we are united. The manifestation of the great Urasvati must enter into life. My love surrounds you. The high path reveals the fiery rite that affirms the feminine principle. As it says, the feminine principle is the key to the new world. The name Urasvati manifests the highest or higher principle that adorns the master's armor. This creates a beautiful oneness. It is through cooperation that the unification of consciousness is manifested. The master further expands on this on June 20th, 1933. He explains, it must be remembered that the failure to apply judgment is especially burdensome to karma. Such a circumstance is usually overlooked. People think that the predestined must be fulfilled outside the will of the people, but the power of the will can cut off the joyful current. Therefore, we send the message that it may strain the will and combine with the rays of the luminaries. The American people must enter a new era when nations must begin to fade away, forming a whole national consciousness. Fruit not picked in time rots, and the undeveloped national sentiment will begin to degrade the strength of the country. But the unification of consciousness comes only through cooperation. As we strive towards the future, we can ask ourselves if we are applying the principles of cooperation. Are we creating the essential unification of consciousness with our thoughts? Are we creating unification of consciousness with the teacher, with the hearts of groups that serve the common good? The high path emphasizes this unification, which is most essential. May 5th, 1934. The Master Guides. Therefore, the thoughts of my sacred Urasvati are valuable, and these fiery words are the teaching of our unified consciousness. This is necessary to be translated for the unification of women. Let Paruma read it to the circle of the chosen ones. The devoted souls appreciate the fiery words. The creativeness of the spirit in our plan is so powerful in various directions. The current that creates the new epic is incomparable. Dear Svati, I appreciate your words about the master. It is important for disciples to understand this fundamental law. On all planes, it is powerful, for it is impossible to build without this affirmation. Only nearness to the fiery consciousness can intensify the spirit. Thus, it is so important to affirm your strength by the magnet of our nearness. If one were to realize the beauty of the action of united consciousness, then it would be possible to understand all the powerful energies that unite within the one heart. In closing, as part of the Agni Yoga Focus Group, a team of co-workers began editing the High Path Volume 2 several years ago. As predominantly English speakers, it was an opportunity to work with the Russian translation software, as well as using the Agni Yoga Society's Russian search engine to help us create the initial translations. In addition, we have benefited from the help of Russian Agni Yoga students who have guided and directed the more difficult translations. These co-workers labored together in cooperation, creating a translation of the writings. The challenges have provided an opportunity to be inspired towards a sense of responsibility while engaging in the higher work to bring into manifestation a valuable book for the future. In closing, I'd like to read this verse. The master, in his meeting with Urasvati, spoke of the great mission she was to take part of. It says, we leave many rays to the planet. Thus, dear Svati, events are brewing quickly, and we will witness the construction of the new world. The ascent of our luminary provides a specific magnetic power. Yet, yes, dear one, bridges are laid by your hands. Now I ask, my dear Svati, to rest, because there is much work ahead. Your foresight and regal mind will affirm the manifestation of the building of nations. Thank you.
The notebooks are the original handwritten recordings of the conversations between the master and Helena Rourke, Nicholas Rourke, and members of the inner circle. These beautiful compositions can be likened to a symphony, where each written line provides the notes of guiding sound and color, resonating with the higher worlds. The collaboration of the translation and editing teams of the notebooks consists of many skills working together to compose a unifying translation to convey the musicality of the messages. Through the cooperation of a Russian translator and guidance from many inner and outer helpers, the English translations have come into manifestation and provide the living records of the Agni Yoga teachings. The translator is fluent in various languages and brings her Agni Yoga background and talents to the project, providing an initial translation. The WMEA editing team works together to discuss the edits, suggestions, and footnotes for each notebook translation. This process involves the opportunity for much communication involving different countries, people, ideas, and thoughts to reveal an ultimate English version of each notebook. There are hundreds of handwritten notebooks, and as a team, we are currently on our third year editing Notebook 21. It is a dedicated project, and WMEA is providing Helena Rourke's notebooks on their website free of charge for all to read and study. In reading each notebook, we receive the jewels of the guiding words of the master that guided the Rourkes so closely. Much advice is given to each reader about the sense of responsibility each coworker has to the group in the higher worlds. A key message is that through the control of one's thinking and thoughts, one purifies their vehicle to receive the higher impressions and images that are coming through from the master. As we learn, the masters work as one. The masters guided the Rourkes in the inner circle to carry out an extraordinary mission, to carry the light, to illuminate humanity, to bind the worlds together. From the first notebook, there are beautiful recordings that reveal how the Rourkes displayed readiness for the long journey of ascension. The master said, "Fate and thought will lead to us." And the mission was also to strike the darkness. Can you imagine hearing these words from the master? To strike the darkness? These powerful words can guide each disciple and aspirant in their own way to strive to achieve, to purify, to transform, and to serve the light. The translator, Elena Adamkova, writes, many participants mentioned in the notebooks incarnated specifically to join the described events with their own task, role, and to be rendered for required cooperation. Master Moria directly said on August 27th, 1922, having accepted the mission, you cannot dispose of life. Unfortunately, some of the co-workers of the Rourkes lost the memory of their voluntarily embraced assignment when immersed in the body. The first conversations took place with the help of the table for spiritual seances. And since HR's ability for clairaudience was not yet to be restored again at this point, after entering the physical body, her skills had to be developed and attuned to the note of the master. End of quote. This method was expanded upon by the master on November 19th, 1921. I shall give you a better method. One day, talk with the help of the table. Another day, write down the thoughts that you want to express. I shall be with you, watching how you discriminate the given thoughts. It is necessary to move to attain the consciousness of the inspired one. Then, through the help of the table, I will indicate which thoughts were inspired. It is a useful lesson for the inner ear. As the inner circle continued in the sessions, receiving the guiding words about the spiritual mission, they received the following message. The master speaks various languages, and he uses different channels for his differing needs. You did not know my presence yesterday in your turmoil during the calmness. I bring you your guide, who is my child, Zermath. Zermath will guide you and instruct you in my absence. He will direct you. Thus, through him, I will guide you. He will write for you the message I desire to give to others. Fear not and distrust not. You were brought here for no idle purpose, but as a lamp set in a dark room. Thus, let your light shine through the gloom. Keep in touch with my children, through whom you have met me. They will help you, and together we will spread the message throughout the land. I will send you a token so that you may know you are a chosen group. It will come in due season. Thus, fret not nor grow weary. You are a link that now has grown strong to bind the worlds together. Listen to Zermath and write what he says. My blessing rests upon you as I leave. Serving the mission carried the Rourkes to many countries. The call from the higher worlds led them to the summits of the Himalayan and Altai mountains to co-create a new world based on enduring spiritual principles and values. This mission required ongoing refinement of their mechanisms. We would like to share with you today some of the master's instructions given during these daily meetings that emphasize the responsibility one must have for their thoughts that will serve the new world. On October 1st, 1922, they received a powerful message to protect one's thoughts from the infiltration of the enemy who may attack the traveler along the way. The master cautioned, my dear sister, again, I hasten to point to the dangerous work of the enemy. Now I am telling you that you can expect an attack every minute. Here are the examples. We send you a person to help you. but the enemy tries to instill inappropriate thoughts in them. We send you new opportunities, but the enemy attempts to destroy them along the way. We send friends, but they are followed by the emotional smiles of the enemy's friends. We send you the thoughts of creation, but he sprinkles them with the pepper of hatred, jealousy, and ridicule. Therefore, protect the given circle with the best thoughts. Grant should be warned about the source of her grief. Just let her say, I know you, sower of staggering thoughts, and once you know him, his charm cannot harm. It seems so essential to purify our thoughts with the light of the hierarchy. So we rid ourselves of the vipers of hatred, jealousy, and ridicule, and protect ourselves with the best thoughts. Another directive was provided about the need to direct one's thoughts toward beauty. The master instructed, I deem Urasvati should make Lemieux wiser. Pay attention to his spiritual side. Direct his impulse toward beauty. Thoughts of the dark one cannot be beautiful. You see how the dark ones penetrate under the guise of friendship. Friends would accept my hand. Lemieux and Andrea, remember that people are given to you. They will not spill your chalice. They will not cross your path, and they will not offend the shrine. The silent one will not be ignited. The battle is great. Close the entrance to traitors. Accept this order. I sense happiness is approaching. Do not spill it. Read this decree to him. In order to teach communication and responsibility of one's thoughts, the master gave an exercise to the members of the group on June 27th, 1924. He said, I want to fulfill the common desire. Therefore, let each one who has the sign or the name take 2 pieces of paper. On one of them should be written what they want to give to me, and on the other one should be written what they want to receive from me. The letter should then be sealed and sent to you by the nearest post. They may ask, why is it not possible to communicate in spirit? Because thinking is often inaccurate. Instead of a clear question, they send a tale of shaggy thinking, forgetting where and to whom they are addressing. I advise that desires should befit the plan of the masters. We will see and measure. This was further expanded upon during a conversation on May 1st, 1924. The master spoke. Indeed, we share everything, both good and bad. Indeed, we watch all those who are involved in the movement. Not only an external action, but even an inner conversation can cause great harm. I deem it is necessary to warn Zavatsky. It is impossible to allow thoughts reminiscent of a tavern into the circle. No one is sent to idleness. You yourself had a dangerous battle, and the shield of light is covering you. It is very dangerous if from the first step one acts like a tavern drunk. Right. The teacher has shown the image of thoughts. There is danger in it, and it is quite difficult to move such heaviness. Everything should help rather than harm the common cause. Tarohan can be given the sign, and Moray himself is worthy. But he must put service above all, and then it will bring him success and opportunities, for there are no secrets while light illuminates and darkness burns holes.
Throughout the many years, the Master was teaching, guiding, and leading those ready disciples toward the new world, one that's reached through purification of thought and action. Here are two sessions where the Master so beautifully expresses the hope for the new world. I really approve of your circle. With unity, great things can be erected. The teacher is glad to see your burning. Urasvati can consider the road is blooming. Urasvati should feel my shield. Tomorrow, sit silently in the darkness. Reveal the unification in the victory of my works. Be able to complete the bridge of surges. My dear ones, become the wanderers of light in the creation of the new world. So as group members of Agni Yoga walked the path of ascent, they were blessed with daily guidance for the mission of building the new world. MM sent a message on April 3, 1923. I read your thoughts each day. The teacher examines the creativeness of beloved disciples, and if fatigue closes not the lips, discourse flows as a Himalayan stream. 3 wonders will occur in your manifested life. The first is an affirmation of beauty. The second is for spiritual comprehension. And the third is mastering of power. Morea affirms the wonder, the manifestation of the new world. You are entrusted to begin the wonder of the banner of my work. Urasvati, the ray is above you. Let it be for the best. The imagery of these 3 wonders being manifested in life is so beautiful. The affirmation of beauty, spiritual comprehension, and the mastering of power. It seems to create such tension and is truly magnetic. Thus, through reading the notebooks, we're given insight into the earthly labor to bring the teaching to the world through the Tara and the Guru. For all must come from the higher to the lower, as MM expressed to Urasvati. You volunteered to participate in a most dangerous experiment that is very important to humanity, and it's a great responsibility for a new disciple. In it, the higher forces are brought down to earth, and a new channel of benevolence is established. The Master stated, I sense your thoughts to serve the one affirmation of the world. I will choose the worthy ones by the laying of hands on the touchstone. Urasvati will manifest the union of earth and heaven. Urasvati will manifest the measure of beauty by a symphony of the spheres. Urasvati will manifest a ray of light penetrating the walls. Urasvati will manifest the shield that shows the course of the luminaries. Urasvati will manifest the flight of the arrows of the spirit. Urasvati will manifest comprehension of the density of matter at the will of the spirit. Urasvati will expose the emptiness of thought not kindled by the spirit. For our path leads to the transformation of earth into a palace. There are no poor. Who is unwilling to accept riches? Throughout the notebooks, the Master constantly taught and encouraged the Agni Yoga students, saying, years of enlightenment are before you. Be patient, your spirit must grow. Let my leaders be examples to you. Live and act in beauty. I accept your gifts, even the small ones. Try to purify your beings. Keep your eyes on the distant goal. Permit not trivialities to darken your spirits. Think of the lofty. Remember the path on which you are striving. Keep beauty in your hearts. Remember. In conclusion, It's a gift to be able to read and study the many wondrous guiding words in the notebooks that are now so readily and easily available on White Mountain's website. We hope that you take the opportunity to access them and be inspired by the guidance that's as applicable to us today as it was to those great leaders of Agni Yoga 100 years ago. We now have the same tools given to the members of the inner circle to manifest the responsibility to aspire for pure thoughts, to be broad loving, compassionate, alert, and through labor to create harmony and be a seeker for truth. We hope you're inspired to turn to the notebooks and discover other wondrous words of wisdom, words that saturate us with the beauty of leading light. In the words of the Master, by pure thoughts, strengthen the harmony of your spirit, that the blessed ones may reach you. The light will guard your aura. The light will fill your aura, guard it. Thank you.
A third part of the Agni Yoga Focus Group's endeavor this year was the completion of a 3-year project to prepare an Agni Yoga companion for online publication. This was released in August of 2021. It is a 2-volume glossary-like publication for those who study Agni Yoga, are curious about Agni Yoga, are researchers, students, teachers, speakers, or are traveling the path of Agni Yoga. When we read the Agni Yoga books, Helena Rourke's notebooks, or other writings from the teaching, we often come across a term that we would like to know more about and delve into. Say we are researching for a talk on a certain theme. An Agni Yoga companion can be a valuable resource to search the many prevalent words of the Agni Yoga teachings. To give you a practical demonstration of how to use this amazing glossary in our studies, let's try it. As an example, say we are studying the book Agni Yoga, verse 8, and we read, one can point out 2 kinds of padvig, the supramundane and the earthly. Now, in seeing the term padvig, we want to read and learn more about it. So to check if padvig is included in one of the 238 themes found within an Agni Yoga companion, first you would go to the WMEA website, where you will find an Agni Yoga companion that's available on their homepage right next to the Helena Rourke's notebooks, free of charge.
Once you click on the book cover, you'll be directed to the 2 volumes to choose from. And the 2 volumes can be downloaded into your computer or device, printed, or enjoyed online. You'll notice several icons at the bottom of the page. There's print, save, the table of contents, and sound. Then up on the sides, simply click the arrows on the right or left to turn the pages forward or backward. Notice the sound of the pages turning, or you can mute the sound if you wish for silence. Another great feature of the flipbook is the icon to increase the font size. Great for those of us who need larger print. Just click on the plus sign to increase or the minus sign to decrease. To print one of the volumes, you'll find a printer icon at the bottom of the flipbook. Click on it and select print all pages if you'd like to print the full 344-page volume 2, or you can choose to print 1 page at a time. To download into a PDF, there's a symbol next to the printer that will allow you to proceed to save it to your device. So first click on the download PDF icon And then notice at the top of the page a down arrow and click on this symbol. And this now opens your folders in your device. Click Save at the bottom of the screen. And this format may vary slightly for a Mac. Or you can visit the WMEA website each time and find the book on the home page. Now, another important feature of this flipbook that we'd like to share with you today is the clickable table of contents. At the bottom, locate this symbol, and after clicking on this icon, the table of contents will open on the left side of your screen, and you'll see here a list of themes available in Volume 2. To follow our example today, let's scroll down to the theme of Podvig. Click on Podvig, and the clickable word will direct you to the first page of the verses of the selected theme. So it's quite fun and very user-friendly. And here we can read among 2 to 4 pages of verses found within the Agni Yoga themes about a particular term, in this case, Podvig, and they can aid us in our studies or research for presentations. So remember, there is a document available of these instructions in the conference handouts.
On behalf of the whole Agni Yoga Focus Group, we hope you feel confident and inspired to access these incredible resources that are available on WMEA website. Enjoy the conference.